gratitude to all the speakers, Dr. Tbs Rajput, Dr. K.V. Ramanna Rao, Dr. Manoj Khanna, Mr. Dilip, Mr. Sabarna Roy. We also welcome Shri Rajiv Kumar Suklikar, Member Engineering, Narmada Valley Development Authority, Dr. G.V. Patel, Director WR, and other esteemed guests and dignitaries. We convey our sincere thanks to all professionals for their time and presence for the two-day virtual training session on the topic on integrated pipe irrigation network and micro irrigation. Now I request and invite Dr. G.V. Patel, Director WR, to welcome Shri Rajiv Kumar Suklikar.
Thank you, Kapna. I will also like to welcome Mr. Rajiv Suklikar, Member Engineering NVDA, for his sparing time to be here. I also welcome Mr. Rajput, world-renowned faculty on the subject, and all my participants. सुकलीकर साहब, मैं आपको जस्ट बताना चाहूँगा कि इस प्रोग्राम का ओरिजिन MPWRD है। एक मीटिंग में उन्होंने मुझे कहा था कि एक पाइप इरिगेशन प्रोग्राम की है। Accordingly, we adopted this program in consultation with various experts like Rajput and others. लेकिन इसके बाद में ये प्रोग्राम अदर स्टेट में ज़्यादा पॉपुलर हो गया, राजस्थान, गुजरात एंड मेनी अदर स्टेट्स। और आज मौका मिला हमको एनबीडी के सामने ये प्रोग्राम करने का। सर, जैसा आपने कहा था, प्रोग्राम अच्छा हो, फैकल्टी अच्छी हो। हमने आज 5 एक्सपर्ट्स यहाँ बुलाए हैं जो आज ऊपर रहेंगे। सर, दीज आर द वर्ल्ड रिनाउंड एक्सपर्ट्स, दीज आर बेस्ट एक्सपर्ट द कंट्रीज हैविंग। राजपूत साहब के बारे में तो ये बताना चाहूँगा कि उनकी जितनी डिमांड इंडिया में है उससे कहीं ज़्यादा फॉरेन में है। फॉरेन एजेंसीज उनको ज़्यादा यूज़ करती हैं, इंडिया में कम कर पाते हैं, लेकिन हमारी रिक्वेस्ट को मानते हुए आज वहाँ आए हैं। तो सर सुकलीकर साहब, मैं आपका धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा कि आपने CBIP को मौका दिया प्रोग्राम करने का, और आप खुद यहाँ आए। आपके सारे सीनियर आपके साथ सिविल के यहाँ अवेलेबल हैं और आप खुद यहाँ पे अवेलेबल हैं। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू। Before we start, I'd like to request Suklikar Sahab to say a few words about the program, about the CBIP, and to his friends, colleagues. Suklikar Sahab, please, sir.
Thank you, Patel Sahab. Thank you, Patel Sahab. मेरा CBIP से एसोसिएशन काफ़ी लंबा है और जब से पटेल साहब आए तब से और ज़्यादा निश्चित तौर पे वेल नेट रहा है। और हम लोग WRD में जब मैं इंजीनियर चीफ था तब भी मैंने CBIP से रिक्वेस्ट करके बहुत ही अच्छे थॉट शेयरिंग प्रोग्राम्स और लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी का अपडेशन, लेटेस्ट नो हाउ, जो भी हमारे वाटर रिसोर्सेस के प्रोजेक्ट्स और उससे संबंधित जो भी, चाहे वो यूनिट 1 डैम और हेडवर्क्स के पार्ट्स हों, चाहे वो यूनिट 2 कैनाल्स के हों। अब जैसे कि हम लोग सभी निश्चित तौर पे जान रहे हैं कि मध्य प्रदेश इस माइक्रो इरिगेशन प्रोजेक्ट्स के संदर्भ में पायोनियर स्टेट रहा है। शुरू से हम लोगों ने बहुत लार्ज स्केल पे माइक्रो इरिगेशन प्रोजेक्ट्स को टेक ओवर किया इन WRD ऑल्सो एंड इन NVD ऑल्सो। सिंस 2.5 years आई एम इन NVDA। यहाँ भी हम लोगों का भी जो भी जितना भी एग्जीक्यूशन चल रहा है मेजर, बल्कि हम ये कहें मेजर से भी मेजर है, 90-95% जो इरिगेशन डेवलपमेंट का कार्य है वो हम लोगों का थ्रू प्रेशराइज्ड पाइप इरिगेशन है, माइक्रो इरिगेशन प्रोजेक्ट्स के संदर्भ में है। उसी के तहत हम लोग कर रहे हैं। बड़ी रेप्यूटेड कंपनीज L&T हैं, या शाहपुर जी PLNG हैं, नवयुगा है, और भी कई ऐसी कंपनीज हैं जो मतलब वेल नोन है, वेल रिनाउंड है, वो हमारे यहाँ पे एज एजेंसी के रूप में काम कर रही हैं। और इस संदर्भ में ही मतलब पटेल साहब से जब मेरा इंटरेक्शन हुआ, मैं एक दो बार मैं CBIP में भी इनसे मुलाकात करने गया, इनके एसोसिएट से भी मुलाकात हुई, यहाँ भी आए थे। तो निश्चित तौर पे ये एक बहुत रिलीवेंट पाया गया। हम लोगों ने समझा कि माइक्रो इरिगेशन के संदर्भ में जो है वो हम लोगों को टेक्निकल डिटेल्स, टेक्निकल नो हाउ, लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी से और लेटेस्ट अपडेशंस इन दिस फील्ड, इन सब के बारे में मेरे और मेरे साथियों को, जो अभी आपका ये प्रोग्राम 2 दिन का जो है वो उससे पूरी तरह सुनेंगे और पूरी तरह लाभान्वित रहेंगे। कुछ मीटिंग्स हैं, जैसे जैसे समय मिलेगा मैं भी अटेंड करूंगा। और मैं निश्चित तौर पे राजपूत साहब से तो मैं पहले भी आपसे मैं मतलब मिलके गौरवान्वित हो चुका हूँ सर। आज फिर मुझे आपसे रूबरू तो नहीं लेकिन वर्चुअली मिलके बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है सर। आई फील प्राइड टू मीट यू सर। और मैं निश्चित तौर पे मैं जानता हूँ और मानता भी हूँ और मेरा पूरा विश्वास है सर कि 2 दिन हमारे जो साथी वो तो आपको सुनेंगे सर, और आपका पूरा सहयोग और आपका पूरा कोऑपरेशन और पूरा आपका नॉलेज शेयरिंग रहेगा सर। मैं आपको और जो फैकल्टी मेंबर है सवर्ण नायक जी है, ये लेकर जी है, जो भी सबसे हो सकता है एक आध बार कभी मुलाकात भी हुई हो, लेकिन मैं पटेल साहब से ये कहूँगा कि मेरी तरफ से उनको आप मेरी बेस्ट विशेष, मेरे नमस्कार कहिएगा, आदरपूर्वक नमस्कार कहिएगा। तो मैं अभी और डिले ना करते हुए राजपूत साहब का सबसे पहले हाथ जोड़कर प्रणाम करूंगा, और पटेल साहब आपको, आपकी पूरी टीम को, और सीबीआई एनवीडीए के जो मेरे अधिकारी हैं साथी आपके, उन सबका मैं वेलकम करता हूं। आप लोग पूरा ध्यान से सुनिए, कोई भी डाउट्स हो, कुछ भी हो, क्लियरिफाई करने में बिल्कुल ना हिचके। राजपूत साहब आपके सभी डाउट भी क्लियर करेंगे ताकि हमको हमारी फील्ड में उसको वापरने में, उसको प्रैक्टिकली इम्प्लाई करने में सहूलियत हो। थैंक यू राजपूत साहब, थैंक यू पटेल साहब, थैंक यू सीबीआईपी, और थैंक यू एनवीडीए के मेरे सभी साथी हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Sukhlir Saab. Thank you very much. Kalpana, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful and illuminating address. Ladies and gentlemen, now may I invite today's first resource speaker, Dr. Tbs Rajput, for the presentation. Before he starts, let me introduce briefly about the speaker. Dr. Tbs Rajput is an adjunct professor at Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, and professor at Jayashankar Telangana State Agriculture University, Hyderabad, and a visiting professor at Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok. He is former project director of Water Technology Center at IARI and has over 45 years of experience of research and postgraduate teaching in the field of soil and water conservation engineering. He has made significant contributions in the field of agriculture, water management, and high-tech horticulture. He has developed 7 computer software, published 10 books, and more than 200 research articles on different aspects of agriculture water management. He has received many honors and awards. Besides research, he has supervised more than 20 postgraduate research. Now I request Dr. Tbs Rajput to make the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Patel Saab. Patel Saab, it is a pleasure to be with you all the time, and CBIP, I'm available all the time for that. सुक्लीकर साहब का मैं बहुत धन्यवाद करूंगा कि उन्हें याद है कि मैं मध्य प्रदेश में भोपाल में एक कोर्स में आया था, तब उनसे मुलाकात हुई थी, बल्कि 2 बार उनसे मुलाकात भोपाल में मेरी हुई। और ये बड़ा अच्छा लगता है कि जो हमारे इंजीनियर्स फील्ड में काम कर रहे हैं, एक्चुअली उनके साथ बैठ के बात करना, क्योंकि बेसिकली तो मैं एक रिसर्चर और टीचर ही हूं, लेकिन आप लोगों के सहयोग से मुझे जितना अनुभव हुआ है फील्ड का, वो मैं आप लोगों के साथ शेयर करता हूं, और जो आपसे सीखता हूं वो दूसरों को के साथ शेयर करता हूं, दूसरों से जो सीख के आता हूं वो आपसे शेयर करूंगा। देखिए मैं स्क्रीन शेयर कर रहा हूं, पटेल साहब उनको बोलिए जरा। आई एम यूज्ड टू दैट Zooms meeting and Google. This first time the teams I'm working, and all this problem is happening. And normally anybody who wants me to speak, they'll send the direct one click link, but they had given all these complicated procedures. So, well, anyway, that is their procedure. I have nothing to say against that. Friends, I think we have already spent some time for nothing, but I will just make up for that. Today I'm going to cover in my presentation. अगर आप हिंदी में कहें तो मैं हिंदी में बोलूं, अगर अदरवाइज मैं इंग्लिश में बोल रहा हूँ।
मिक्स ना, हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स।
अच्छा ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा। तो जो मैं आज प्रेजेंट करने वाला हूँ उसमें जो इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स मैं कवर करूँगा वो वाटर रिसोर्सेज के डेवलपमेंट के बारे में, क्या इश्यूज हैं इनके रिसोर्सेज के बारे में, हम माइक्रो इरिगेशन की बात क्यों करना चाहते हैं और माइक्रो इरिगेशन के डेवलपमेंट्स क्या हैं। माइक्रो इरिगेशन इज नॉट अ वेरी सिंपल थिंग एज वी ऑल अंडरस्टैंड। एंड देन how can we connect it to large systems, micro irrigation's integration with large systems? And not only canal system, but with solar operated micro irrigation with canals. And then watersheds and water harvesting schemes and projects. How can they be integrated with micro irrigation? Well, I need not take more time on this. You all understand that we have very limited water, and whatever water is available, only a very small component, 3% of that is usable. And out of that usable, 66% we are taking for agriculture. So agriculture, since is a major consumer, its major responsibility also is there to use the water as efficiently as possible. Well, I will not go into the small video, it was there, but I'll just skip because of the time. Let's come straight away to very general statistics. You all know it, but just for the sake of making background for coming the real topic, we all know that water resources, how limited they are. It is just 4% of the world. Land area even less, 2.3%. But population is not 16, but 17% today. So 17% population we have to feed. We're having only 2.3% of land area and 4% of water resource. And that too, if you see, the demand of water for other sectors is growing very fast. And we also know that other sectors like domestic, industry, and other recreation facilities, they can spend more, they can pay more for water. So all the competition that we are going to face in future days will be for agriculture. And the blue map, it shows the distribution of rainfall, and luckily in this country we have the maximum variation possible from zero rainfall to maximum rainfall in the world. And then if you see the temperatures, if you take vertical distribution of temperatures, सबसे कम टेम्परेचर भी हमारे यहाँ होता है नॉर्थ में, और सबसे ज्यादा टेम्परेचर भी हमारे यहाँ अवेलेबल है. नाउ ये वेरिएशन जो आप देख रहे हैं टेम्परेचर का और रेनफॉल का, ये एक लायबिलिटी नहीं है, एक प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इट इज एन एसेट. Asset because we have the climate such that we can grow anything, any plant, any variety within the domain of our country. ये सब सारे countries में possible नहीं है, but our country gives us the possibility of growing anything. Now, simple mathematics, you all are familiar that 4,000 billion cubic meter is available. Out of that, ultimately, we are using only 728 billion cubic meter as surface water. So I'll not go into more detail. You know, if you look how we have progressed in water resources as such, initially the water was under the control of the community. We had tanks, lakes, and all were under the control of the community. You know, every village has got 1 or 2 ponds, and the control was with the villagers, the total community. And very little intervention that you are seeing 20% from the government side, and individual interference was very limited, 5%. But in the mid area or mid duration, the community control started decreasing. Why? Because the government intervention through construction of canals and tanks, the control started shifting to the state, to the government, जो आपके पास है आजकल. And then the individual also started increasing. Why? Because individuals were somehow not satisfied, somehow not getting whatever they wanted. So they started using water resources on their own, by their own wells. And the situation lately is that now the individual control has increased to a great extent. More than 55% of the total water resources are under the control of individuals. Now, this is because of several parameters, several factors. Our community did not function well. The government intervention and government control on water resources was not liked by the community and the individual farmers. And then farmers found it more convenient and under their control to have their own tube wells and started exploiting that. And exploiting it really senselessly at several places. Now, if you see that groundwater utilization has exceeded the surface water just simply because of that it has been the groundwater exploitation has become a menace of sort of. All the dark spots in this map, they indicate that in these locations we have already overexploited our groundwater. There is no further possibility of increasing potential for utilization. And on the other hand, all the government interventions and all the constructions of dams, big dams, total storages that we have for emergency is the least among all the big countries: Russia, Brazil, USA, China, South Africa. And if you want to go for more large dams, you know what sort of resistance we face. You have the best experience of the resistance given by different lobbies. Well, notwithstanding that, and just coming back to what is the reality. Reality is population is growing fast and the water resources are depleting. And the per capita availability has reduced from almost 5,500 meter cube to just around 1,000 meter cube per year per person. If you look to what is happening, आप सब हिंदी समझ सकते हैं, सूख गई 4500 नदियां और गायब हो गए 20 लाख तालाब और कुएं झील. This is no more a dream and this is no more a hypothetical thing. This is real. And where they have gone, they have just dried up for different reasons. And then if you see the left hand side of the map in the slide, these are the 21 Indian cities which have been warned for the water scarcity, looming water scarcity by none other than our Niti Aayog. Now the farmers, they know very well that if they have to progress, if they have to increase their income, if they have to increase their production, they need water. So they are very clear. चुनावी रेवड़ियां नहीं चाहिए, सिंचाई की सुविधा चाहिए. So coming back to this, we cannot say we have not done enough. The government has done really wonderfully well. And the development of our water resources, particularly after independence, is exemplary. And there is no other example in the world. So we are number one in developing the water resources during this period, particularly for irrigation, by investing a huge amount of money, because increasing the irrigated area, it cannot come without cost. It comes with a cost as per our traditional practices. Now we'll have to look to something else. But what is the negative side? The negative side is the gap between the irrigation potential created and irrigation potential utilized. आप खुद अपना देख सकते हैं आप कहां पे हैं, कितने परसेंट मध्य प्रदेश. See, Madhya Pradesh, the value here with me is very high, but this data is a little old. I know in last few decades, Madhya Pradesh has done wonderfully well in utilizing the water resources. So this situation must change now. Now, looking to what is the problems and what are the real issues, that additional issues are efficiencies are very low, particularly in our large canal systems. And seasonal, जो पानी की availability आप canal से देते हैं और किस वक्त वो crop को चाहिए, इसका matching थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है. Operational problem भी है. It's not a simple thing to do, लेकिन ये problem है. और इसी की वजह से low water productivity होती है. और इसी की वजह से एफिशिएंसी भी डाउन होती है। अदर जो कंसर्न की चीज है वो ये कि जो लॉसेस हैं इन आवर कैनाल सिस्टम्स, यू नो दीज फिगर्स वेरी वेल, ये बहुत कंसर्न की चीज है कि दैट वी आर लूजिंग ए वेरी लार्ज part of the water that has been developed through dams, through construction of dams. Now, what can be done? Very simple things I will talk, that water resources, the water courses, particularly the field water courses, which are giving the highest losses. We need to address that. And how to address, at least for maintenance, proper maintenance. Maintenance of our distributaries and miners, they play very significant role. What we are not doing and what we need to do in future, some controls and regulations on the canals, which can really be automated, like you are seeing at Etheridge Wheel, you are seeing the automated gate. And then more than all that, that all the area which is being irrigated, if it is plain area, it must be precisely leveled for higher water use efficiencies. The last thing that we can add into existing canal system is an automation. Automation at different stages, at distributory head, at canal head, at water course head, and at the field level that you are seeing the solar operated hydrant and metered pipes. With all the facilities and all the activities that we have done, we still are 55% as rainfed in the country. And that is a very critical for our survival and our food security. What are the options available? Options are that conveyance and distribution system has to be completed, which the Prime Minister through all his might under PMKSY selecting 99 projects and doing them fast, and Madhya Pradesh is doing very well in that. And I think that's how it is the way you can increase the irrigated area. And then major, medium and minor irrigation works under canal commands and watershed have to be taken up seriously. In situ water conservation, efficient application, and then mechanization, and these things are to be simultaneously taken up. Now, when we talk what is happening, this is a small picture I have taken from Alwar district in village Talwar. Then you can just see just a 2.5 inch to 3 inch pipe of the well. And then in an earthen channel is almost sandy soil. In an earthen water course, they are taking this limited quantity of water, carrying it for a few hundred meters. You can understand what are the amount of losses taking place. Is this the way that we should be using our water resources? Is this the way we should be using our energy, and this being run by diesel? So you can understand the cost to the farmer for irrigating fields. Well, this is I have already discussed that a lot of investment has gone into developing water resources through canal, not only canals, but tanks and groundwater. When it comes to utilization, we have different methods. We all understand the surface methods and check basins and furrows, and then micro. And why micro? Because you see the top curve here. Irrigation efficiency improves from going from flood to furrow to sprinkler to center pivot to drip. Highest irrigation efficiency can be achieved through drip. And this is the simple system of a micro irrigation. Now, to understand the concept is very simple, that from the source, that is the well or the tank or the canal, whatever, you convey the water under pressure and under enclosed conduits to individual plants. So what is done in this process? In this process, you are eliminating practically all the conveyance losses to zero, all the evaporation losses to zero and no possibility of runoff because you are applying at a controlled discharge and for controlled duration. And if you are controlling the duration, then you can ensure that any amount of water does not penetrate below the soil roots. And if it doesn't penetrate below the roots, there are no percolation losses. So practically you can eliminate all types of losses. And mind it, that plant requires as much water as it needs. Whether you applied it through surface method or drip method doesn't make a difference to it. So that much water it needs, and we'll have to provide that much water. The question is how the efficiency improves. How the efficiency improves simply because we are able to cut down the losses. And this micro irrigation system offers a scientific solution where we can practically make all the losses as zero. And besides saving water, it saves fertilizers. How? Because this micro irrigation systems give a possibility or offer a possibility of applying any chemicals which are water soluble along with water and then very precise application into the field. Saves labor because once the system is laid out, you don't require any labor to control the water and divert the water. Weeds will be less, yields will be high. Why yields will be high? Yields are high because of two reasons. That you are giving exactly the amount of water it requires, and then in the roots there is no suffocation. Water is just adequate and there is enough air for the plant's roots to breathe. So you give a proper environment to plants to grow with enough oxygen and enough moisture. You can see the simple concept. It started with points. As you can see the very first figure. This was the very first concept of micro irrigation, that you take a tube lateral, then provide some kind of a dripper that or emitter, the water from where the water can come out just near the plant. And it was used for orchards. Then later it was found that putting it on surface creates all sort of obstructions for agriculture operations. So why not put it underground? So subsurface drip irrigation systems came into existence. Then question came that can we really use it for very close growing crops? Now, for example, straight away coming to, let us say, if we want to grow onion or garlic, the plant to plant spacing is 10 centimeters maximum. Now in the 10 centimeters, if you start assuming that you provide drippers at each 10 centimeters in the field, it is almost impossible. So we must have something else. So the system was evolved where it is not only wetting the points, it is not no more a point source of water application in engineering terms, but it is a line source of water application. And how can you convert a point source of water application into line source of water application? Just by reducing the distance between the two emitting points, such that the wetting area of one emitter merges with other, and you can get a line source as you are seeing in the bottom photograph. Similarly, a lot of discussion, a lot of modifications, a lot of research was done on large trees, how the drip can be applied on a large tree. And then it was found that if you adopt the first concept, it's not going to work. It requires much more water, and not only in one direction, one side, but all around its plant. So there are flexible methods and flexible tubes layered all around. And another alternative was found that you put two laterals on both the sides of the plant and then provide the drippers closer to it. And all sort of those site of developments took place. And ultimately, all these developments led to a situation that we can grow almost any type of crop. You can just see here potato, onion, wheat, and finally we are trying, and a lot of research is being done for putting it to rice. So even for rice, it's being suggested, is being reported that drip system is really a water saver. In India, 2004, under the chairmanship of Chandrababu Naidu ji, the then Chief Minister of Joint Andhra, there was a national task force on micro irrigation, and that time the estimates were made. I have had the proper opportunity and big fortune to be a member of this, and then we estimated almost 70 million hectares in the country can be brought under micro irrigation. And that was not all. The government is still pursuing and doing a lot in terms of policy development. Starting from 1992, when the first centrally sponsored scheme on use of plastics in agriculture was started, it was the scheme to partly fund or provide certain subsidy to the users. And then the second 95, then Rural Infrastructure Development Fund was created. In 96, Accelerated Irrigation Benefit Program, जिसमें आपके जितने कैनाल नेटवर्क छूटे हुए थे उनको जल्दी से पूरा करना भी एक कंपोनेंट था. Then integrated scheme of oil seed, pulses, oil palm, and all these things was created in 2004. 2005, ultimately National Horticulture Mission was created. And all these policy, they gave a push to the micro irrigation in the country. And then 2006 RKVY, rather 2007 RKVY, and then 2010 it was specifically for micro irrigation. National mission specifically for micro irrigation was done. And the policy in 2014 was National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. And to crown it, in 2015, our Prime Minister declared PMKSY. You are all familiar, you are all working in this, so you know more than me on this particular aspect. But I would just like to emphasize that under this PMKSY, there are three keywords. Har khet ko pani, and then per drop more crop, and then efficient water use. Now all these, let's say start from har khet ko pani. It's very good to say so, but do we have enough quantity of water to convey to all fields through open channels? And the answer is perfectly no. The second question is to improve the water use efficiency. If we have to think of water use, of increasing our water use efficiency, you have seen the curve, and I have shown you that surface methods, check basin, furrow, sprinkler, and finally the drip. Drip gives you the highest water use efficiency. So we need to promote drip irrigation for both these causes, and then per drop more crop. There cannot be any alternative other than the micro irrigation or the drip irrigation. So PMKSY in short pushes and suggests to give a big push to the micro irrigation in the country. And it is said that if micro irrigation is made mandatory for sugarcane nationwide, then it will be a game changer, because the sugarcane is a water guzzling crop. And this is being tried in Maharashtra, your neighboring state, that the people who will adopt, they'll get certain incentive, and those who do not, they'll have to face some disadvantage. If you look to the engineering aspect of this, because then only we'll understand that it is not simply putting some laterals and putting some drippers. Micro irrigation is also as complex as your own systems. So Of course, the time doesn't permit me to go into all the developments, but I'll just try to cover the very critical aspect. In micro irrigation or drip irrigation, the most critical part or the heart of the system is its filters, because the water is conveyed in closed conduits at low pressure, at low discharge it is given. So any impurity in the water will make the system useless. So we must ensure that the water that is getting into the system or the field is perfectly clean. And for doing that, we need filters. And if you see the engineering aspect of filters, in 70s, we started having the gravel filter. Then in 80s, we came to sand and media filter. And then the developments took us to screen filter, hydrocyclone filter, disc filter, and all special purposes filters for special uses. So these are the some engineering interventions in micro irrigation. Then I told you that the fertilizer or any water soluble chemical can be applied with irrigation water. But the water flow, what is flowing in a closed conduit, if we are all engineers, we can understand if you make a hole in the in a pipe where the water is under pressure, it would come out. But if you want to inject something into it, you need some extra device. Otherwise, it will not get into it. So the first thing, simplest thing was thought that you take a tank, sealed tank, fill up the fertilizer solution in it, and from one side you let certain quantity of water get into this tank, and then same quantity of water taken out and joining the main pipeline of the water distribution system. That's the drip irrigation system. Second is the Venturi. All engineering students are taught what is a Venturi. Any constriction in the pipe, planned constriction and then again expansion, creates a situation of negative pressure. Using that negative pressure, the suction is created, and that suction can be used for applying anything into the water. And for precise applications where you can apply with controlled rate, controlled amount, is a fertigation pumps are available. So these are developments in fertilizer applicators. And as the government, you have seen how many policy initiatives the governments took. And government was trying hard and putting financial support. What happened? Our industry people, many of them, they came up. You may be surprised to know we have more than 300 micro irrigation manufacturers in this country. In micro irrigation association, that is the list. But what happened? They started making their own things. You know, they don't follow any standards. They don't follow any quality. So it was a big problem for us. How to control that? Then in Bureau of Indian Standards, a special committee was created as back as 1985. And then we started taking component wise. And I'm happy to share with you. I have served this committee for a long time. I still am a member of this committee. And then we have standardized all components of micro irrigation. Now, any manufacturer in the country must follow this norm if he wants to participate in the government scheme of micro irrigation, means in the subsidy scheme of the government. The latest development, since we are engineers and we just get interested in new developments, new things, is air ejection. This air ejection is a device similar to a Venturi. And what you are seeing here, that already a solution of fertilizer and water is flowing in the pipe now. We want to add air to it, a controlled amount of air along with this water. Why? Because in the root zone, where the water is dripping near the plant root, the roots don't get suffocated. they get adequate quantity of oxygen as well. This is the latest development, and it's being tested. Now, automation everywhere in the world is the main thing that is being done, starting from, say, simple devices like tensiometer, like green seeker, infrared thermometer, plant canopy analyzer, and then smart plant water. We have come to a stage where the world is using phytomonitoring applications. Phytomonitoring applications are what? These are the devices or the processes of monitoring the plant tissues, leaf tissue, fruit tissue, stem tissues, and then interpreting the deficit of water, and then applying only that quantity of water. So that is the ultimate, that we can precisely monitor and apply the exact quantity of water required. Yeah, I talked to you about the subsurface replication. So this is a simple machine that lays the drip laterals subsurface, and this particular lateral doesn't have the drippers online on the tube, but they're all inbuilt nowadays. And the automation has moved, starting from a simple time control to diviners, to connection with the automatic weather stations, to the computer controlled jets, netter jets, and then finally with your mobile. So the developments are fast, and the developments are really taking strides and keeping pace with other developments in this particular field. As far as the software developments are concerned, because when you have seen all the complications in the system, its design also it becomes really complex, and for handling that you require software. And what I am trying to show you here, I'm trying to show you here that our Water Technology Center at New Delhi, our efforts in development of software over the last 20 years, starting from the method, drip, Fergon, Marcos, and then DOMIS and IFSHED. This DOMIS is available on the net. Anybody who wants to design a drip irrigation system for any crop, any soil, any climate within this country, just use the DOMIS on Google, and all the data we have embedded into it. You may not worry about what is the climate there, what is the type of soil, and what the crop that you are growing, and what are its crops requirement and others. Everything has been given in, so it requires the least amount of data, and this decision support system is available free of charge to anybody on Google. So you can just make a note of this. And the IFSHED is also a copyright software thus, but it's not available at the moment on the Google as such, and we are taking steps to put it again for free use. It will give you the complete operational pattern, operational schedule for water and different fertilizers for different crops under different soil climatic conditions. On-demand irrigation systems are the latest added to micro irrigation. The pressurized pipe, the water is available under pressure, and ATM type of boxes are there. You just put your card inside. It will know for how long the water is to be delivered from here, and the water will operate. Water will come out for that much time. So these are the on-demand irrigation system. And then finally, the pricing. You all will understand the price is a very difficult thing to talk in this country on price of water and price of energy, particularly if it regards to agriculture. But anyway, sooner or later we'll have to think of. Maharashtra has already taken a lead, and maybe other states follow. As a result of all these efforts, we have already crossed 10 million mark, 10 million hectares under micro irrigation by the year 2017, I'm sorry. And the present situation may be close to 15 million hectare. And we are progressing well. But if you just see the potential is 70 million hectare as estimated by the task force, we are far away from that. We will need much more time to do that, to reach that there. Now, if we have to think of linking it to this micro irrigation system to large canal systems, large systems, there could be a simple way that if the water is available at a higher level, slightly higher level, use the siphoning and then put the tubes and having the drippers and the emitters. That is the simplest way of doing it. Other way is that you pump from the available source, then feed it to the filters that you are seeing 5 screen filters in the line. And after filtering, it is entering to the main drip irrigation system. Again, here this is direct pumping from the distributory. This is a photograph taken from Anantapur. The water is being pumped using a float there in the distributory, coming to a head of the filter unit, and from the filter unit it goes to the farmers' fields. This is not in India. It is a picture from Brazil, and they are using the elevated canals. These are somehow in India we don't have the elevated canals, and if this head is 1 meter or more, then we don't require any additional energy to for the drip irrigation system, and it can work under that pressure. And that's what is happening here. You can just see elevated canal. The water is being pumped into the headworks at the filter units, and then it is being distributed into the field. Again, is our the lead work done in Gujarat. They put up the solar panels on the canals, saving evaporation and keeping the cool. That is giving more energy and not require additional land. That is the biggest thing, because the farmers are they simply will not agree easily for giving their land for putting the panels or putting anything for out of the crop cultivation. So this is one of the options. And then another way of adding it, this picture I'm showing you the Google map from Sirsa. What you are seeing is a canal, and then a white patch. Within the white patch there is a small green square. This green square is the reservoir. It is called the balancing reservoir or alternate reservoir, whatever you call it. Because what happens, the canals are operated on timely basis. Even if they are Varabandi or any other schedule, the next irrigation from canals is not expected before 15 days, 20 days. And if that is so, and if there are crops growing in the field, the farmers want to apply it. So the best thing that is that whatever his share of water, canal से जितना पानी आना है वो रिजर्वायर में भर ले और रिजर्वायर से माइक्रो इरिगेशन के थ्रू दे. ये पर्टिकुलरली हरियाणा में क्यों ज्यादा जरूरी है, क्योंकि हरियाणा के कुछ हिस्से में सैलिनिटी की प्रॉब्लम है ग्राउंड वाटर में, लेकिन कैनाल का पानी इतना नहीं है कि जो पूरी उसकी इरिगेशन की रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरा मीट कर सके. और ग्राउंड वाटर से जो पंपिंग होती है वो इतना अच्छा पानी नहीं है, थोड़ा सलाइन है कि जो इरिगेशन के लिए दिया जा सके. So this reservoir gives a perfect solution for mixing groundwater with fresh canal water and then applying to the crops. अब ये सिंपल तरीका है. मान लीजिए अगर कैनाल वाटर में 0.5 EC सैलिनिटी है और जो ट्यूबवेल वाटर है उसकी 4 EC आ रही है, और आपको पता है कि आपके क्रॉप को 2 EC के ऊपर नहीं देना है, तो आप एंश्योर कर सकते हैं कि कितना अपना ट्यूबवेल से पानी इसमें डालना और कितना कैनाल से मिल रहा है, और फिर आप माइक्रो इरिगेशन से क्रॉप्स को इजीली कंफर्टेबली विदाउट रिस्क दे सकते हैं। कितनी कैपेसिटी इस टैंक की होनी चाहिए बेस्ड ऑन पंपिंग, बेस्ड ऑन कैनाल शेयर एंड बेस्ड ऑन योर क्रॉप वाटर रिक्वायरमेंट है। ये स्टडी हम लोगों ने कराया था एक पीएचडी के हिसाब से, उसका पेपर अवेलेबल है। यू कैन गेट दी कंप्यूटेशंस डन, कैसे कंप्यूट करते हैं, कैसे कैलकुलेट करते हैं, वो आप इस पे देख सकते हैं अगर जो इंटरेस्टेड है। आपने सेंटर पिवट सिस्टम्स देखे होंगे, बहुत सारे सेंटर पिवट सिस्टम्स जो हैं वो स्प्रिंकलर्स चलाते हैं। ज़्यादातर स्प्रिंकलर्स ही सेंटर पिवट सिस्टम जो बनाए गए थे वो स्प्रिंकलर्स के लिए बनाए गए थे। बट लेटली दे आर ऑल्सो रियलाइजिंग कि भाई पानी की कमी तो है, सो दे हैव स्टार्टेड पुटिंग lateral. So what you are seeing is a center pivot system, but instead of using sprinklers, the laterals are also provided, and then these laterals keep on rotating along with the arms of the center pivot as the normal case of sprinklers. One additional feature is a linear move system. It is not a center pivot, it is a linear move system, and that you are seeing canal and they are pumping from the canal directly. An additional feature that you are seeing on the solar panels there. So solar panels are creating energy, then canal is giving water, and this linear move system is keeping on moving, and then you are seeing the laterals attached to that. They are irrigating the crops. So these are all different possibilities. How can the drip system be attached or combined or integrated with the canal systems? Now, in our own country, many of you may know by now, is the world's largest irrigation project is executed in Ramthal, Karnataka, Krishna Bhagya Jal Nigam. It is a 24,000 hectares irrigation system, and I feel happy to be a part as a consultant in this particular project, and we had to face a lot of negative from fundings from the government. This is a government funded project. So the finance department of Karnataka, with a great difficulty, agreed. What you are seeing in the picture, the engineer is talking to the minister. The minister himself was an engineer, so that was the beauty, and that was a real good help and support. So that's how this whole thing we could be doing. The whole system is completely automated. Entire 24,000 hectares. And automated to an extent that every farmer in his holding has been given an automatic valve and a schedule of operating that valve. And beyond that valve, a manual valve is provided. A farmer has been told that your share or this valve, automatic valve, will open for this particular duration. If you want water, then you operate your manual valve and use it. So up to that extent, this automation has been done there. The system is running for 3 years now, perfectly well. And the advantages are available on the net. You can just put the Ramthal project. You will find all these details. I need not bother here. Another community project in Haryana, and particularly this I'm talking because the person, the leading farmer there, he was awarded by our International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage in Indonesia just a couple of years back. What he did, he just spared his land for developing a pond, storing water, and then putting micro irrigation systems, and then supplying this water to the nearby farmers on community basis. So there are real good stories, and the ultimate project that we have is at Rajwal. This is near Amritsar. Is a lift irrigation project. And if you just see in this particular picture that you are seeing 2 cars and the panels installed along the canal. And on the canal is on the left hand side. Along the canal, the panels have been installed, solar panels. They create 900 horsepower. And this 900 horsepower is used at 3 locations for pumping this canal water and irrigating the higher reaches of Kandi area in Punjab, which were, impossible to irrigate earlier. But now it is possible that combining or integrating solar and canal and drip, it is possible to irrigate, and we are able to irrigate the higher reaches of Kandi area in Punjab. The details of this project also you will get on the net. So anybody is interested, you can find the details there. And that's not all. We have a long list now based on the successes of these few big projects. We have the list here that these large irrigation projects are taken up by different state governments and they are coming. Now, the watershed, there used to be different watershed schemes. You all are working in the field. आपको पता होगा कितनी तरह के watershed projects चलते थे. सारे watershed projects का ultimate aim होता था कि एक water harvesting का structure ना दीजिए, water harvest कर लीजिए. उसके beyond कुछ नहीं. But PM-KSY आने के बाद ये हुआ कि नहीं भाई, जो आपने पानी इकट्ठा किया है इसको आप सरफेस इरिगेशन के लिए यूज नहीं करेंगे, आप इसको माइक्रो इरिगेशन से यूज करिए और ज्यादा एरिया के लिए यूज करिए, ज्यादा प्रोडक्टिव इरिगेशन करिए, ज्यादा क्रॉप को बचाइए. You can use solar energy also for this purpose. In hilly areas, it is really difficult to irrigate because of the undulating terrain, but it gives a very positive vibe for using micro irrigation because this undulating terrain gives you the natural head, natural pressure. So if you can design properly for a situation, additional energy may not be needed. Hydraulic head may be sufficient to operate the micro irrigation as it is a low pressure system. Finally, the rooftop water harvesting, you can integrate it with the water at a little higher level, which can give you enough head, and then connect it with your micro irrigation for your garden at least. As in this case, you can just see the water is being stored there, and then it can be used for through micro irrigation. The latest in water saving you would just find is the harvesting dew. No more water, is harvesting dew, and for harvesting that is the reusable UV stabilized plastic trays with a limestone additive, so that it collects dew from the air and puts it into the center because of its shape where the plant is there, and then it meets certain quantity of the plant's water requirement. That is the ultimate. Thank you very much. I think with that I will close. I have spoken for 50 minutes. And I'm available for any discussion any amount of time. The time is not a bar for that. So पटेल साहब, अगर आप मेरी आवाज सुन रहे हैं तो अब लोगों से कहिए कि वो अगर कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं तो they are welcome.
Thank you sir, बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम रहा. So I invite all the participants. किसी को कोई भी डाउट हो इस सब्जेक्ट पे अपना क्वेश्चन डाल सकते हैं, बोल भी सकते हैं, चैट बॉक्स पे भी डाल सकते हैं, दोनों ऑप्शंस ओपन है.
Or in case any participant want to raise a question later on, they may write to us directly. We will arrange the respective answers and get back to you over the email. Now I request to the participants, if they have questions, yes, please.
Hello. Okay, madam. I wanted to a question, sir. How is the discharge capacity of underground pipeline determined? How is the discharge capacity of underground pipeline determined?
I got, yes. And the underground or the subsurface drip irrigation system, we place the pipe in particularly keeping the emitting portion up, not down. And then once you fill up, then it takes its shape and all. The design discharge of the vent of the emitter, inbuilt emitter into the lateral is there. And if it is not compacted by the soil, which if it is properly laid at a particular depth, then it will not happen. and it would give you that discharge. Otherwise, if the compaction has taken place, then the discharge will reduce and it would be difficult to manage. So its installation has to be perfect. Otherwise, you are right, your apprehension is correct, that discharge will reduce.
Okay, sir. Other question is that is, sir, I am speaking from Jabalpur, VK Baladhar engineer, sir. Sir, at what depth sir, we should laying the pipeline, and is the work at gravity forces or not?
देखिए पाइप का जो है आपका अगर कोई भी आप अंडरग्राउंड पाइप डालना चाहते हैं पर्टिकुलरली कल्टीवेटेड एरिया में, इट डिपेंड्स के ऊपर आप क्या मशीनरीज चलाना चाहते हैं. अगर सिंपल ट्रैक्टर और रेगुलर मशीन आप चलाते हैं तो मिनिमम डेप्थ जो होनी चाहिए वो 2.5 फीट होनी चाहिए. तो अगर 2.5 फीट है तो इट इज ऑलमोस्ट श्योर, इट इज प्रूवन कि आप पाइप जो है आपका डिफ्लेट नहीं होगा और पाइप पे लोड आपके जो ट्रैक्टर मूवमेंट वगैरह का है नहीं आएगा. और अगर कम रखेंगे तो जो मशीन रिमूव करेगी ऊपर उसकी वजह से प्रेशर उस पे पाइप पे आएगा और पाइप डिफ्लेट हो सकता है, और डिफ्लेट होगा तो फिर फ्लो में आपके ऑब्स्ट्रक्शंस पैदा होंगे.
Sir, up to 1 meter depth, will gravity force act on the water flow?
देखिए वाटर फ्लो दो फोर्सेस की वजह से होता है, चाहे वो 1 मीटर नीचे हो चाहे जमीन के साथ में हो, दो फोर्सेस काम करते हैं. एक तो सॉइल में जो सॉइल का मैट्रिक पोटेंशियल है, या सिंपल वर्ड्स में समझ लीजिए सॉइल का जो एक सक्शन है, जो ड्राइनेस है, पानी जो ड्राई सॉइल है वो पानी को सोखती है, एक तो वो फोर्स है मैट्रिक पोटेंशियल, और एक है ग्रेविटी. और इन दोनों फोर्सेस का एडवांटेज लेके ही ड्रिप इरिगेशन सिस्टम काम करता है. जब आप ड्रिप इरिगेशन ड्रॉप बाय ड्रॉप डालते हैं तो अगर सिर्फ ग्रेविटी काम करे तो पानी सिर्फ वर्टिकली डाउन जाए, लेकिन आप देखते हैं कि ये डाउन ना जाके बल्ब का शेप लेता है. तो बल्ब का शेप क्यों लेता है? कि सॉइल का जो मैट्रिक पोटेंशियल का जो अदर फोर्सेस काम कर रहे हैं वो हॉरिजॉन्टल में बढ़ते हैं और ग्रेविटी वर्टिकल डाउन में काम करती है, और ये डिफरेंट सॉइल्स पर डिपेंड करता है. जैसे सेम डिस्चार्ज, सेम प्रेशर, सेम अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर विल रिजल्ट इनटू डिफरेंट शेप्स ऑफ वेटिंग इन सॉइल. क्ले में अलग होगा, सैंडी सॉइल में अलग होगा. लॉजिकली जो सैंडी सॉइल है उसमें वर्टिकली मूवमेंट ज्यादा होगी और जो क्लेई सॉइल है उसमें हॉरिजॉन्टल मूवमेंट ज्यादा होगी. तो शेप उसी तरह से उसकी चेंज होती है, और हम क्रॉप के रूट्स का अंडरस्टैंडिंग के हिसाब से वो डिस्चार्ज और प्रेशर एडजस्ट करते हैं, जिससे कि जो क्रॉप की रूट, हमें पता है रूट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, उतना ही सॉइल वेट हो. Yes, anyone else?
Thank you.
My pleasure. No more questions? Good, I am happy that I hope I gave you certain idea about how micro irrigation can be used in canal commands and with larger systems, what are different options available to integrate these systems, and in general micro irrigation. If you have any further question, as our anchor suggested, you can put it to them and then they can divert it to me for my observations and my comments. Thank you, Patel Sahab. Thank you all friends.
Thank you, sir.
It's a wonderful session, sir.
Yeah.
So, Kalpana, please.
Thank you, sir, for making the detailed and excellent presentation. Now we'll take a break for lunch and reassemble at 2:30. Thank you.
Thank you.